Hi, I'm Mike. I'm an adventuring dad, and you may remember that earlier last spring we bought a Ford Transit van, and if you want to see more about that van and why we chose what we chose and the current condition it was in that time, there's a link in the description. You can go watch that video. There's a dinosaur and lots of fun stuff in there. Well, fast forward, that van right now is at a place called Vannon in San Luis Obispo, California, getting upfitted as a camper van. You may have seen on social media, I posted a picture. We got a pop top from Colorado Camper Van. So when that comes back to us in a couple weeks, it's going to be a legit 4-person family camper van. Now, it's been there since just before Thanksgiving. And for this whole time, Danielle has been driving this truck. This is my dad's 2001 Silverado, affectionately known in the family as the white truck, because it's white. That's pretty much the only reason why we call it that. Anyway, for a lot of years, Dad drove this truck as just a 4x4, and then he finally got his dream camper. They got a 4-wheel camper. You may remember this truck from other videos that we've done in the past. The one that stands out would be the 4-part series that we did on driving the Mojave Road. My parents did the whole Mojave Road in this truck with the camper on top of it in basically the same configuration that it's in right now. Now, it's a pretty good truck. We're very grateful to have had access to it this whole time, to be driving it around. Otherwise, it'd be real difficult to get around in our daily lives with just one vehicle. This truck does have some issues. The shocks on this truck are literally from 2001. Dad bought this off the lot in 2001. It's a SR5, no, that's Toyota. It is a Z71 truck, but it came from the factory with a lift kit. Came from the factory with bigger tires. It came from the factory with upgraded shocks. Now, these shocks are so old, can't even tell what they are. I'm pretty sure at this point in time, the shocks are not doing anything. They're blown out, they're rusted out. They may even be making the ride worse by inhibiting the actual cycling of the suspension. Why am I telling you all this? Well, this is a nice truck, to be honest. It's kind of an extra truck. My parents live here. My 2 sisters both live here with their families, and whenever one of us needs a truck to haul something, to pick something up, to make a dump run, we borrow the white truck. And it's real handy to have a white truck, even if your white truck happens to be a different color. Now, this is a vintage truck. The engines on these run great. The suspension is okay. Dad's taken pretty good care of it. He's maintained it pretty well. So overall, it functions really well and hasn't had a major issue in quite a while, mostly because we don't drive it that much. But if you're looking for a truck to have like this, a truck like this can be had for under $10,000. And at this point in time, probably even a lot less than that. So you could find a good truck like this and drive it to the dump and have a great time in it. But there are a couple things that you might want to check before you go driving a truck like this around. And the one we're going to talk about today is the suspension. Overall, the condition of this truck is pretty great. It's got some paint flaking here and there, but there's no rust. It's got some dents here and there, but nothing major, nothing rubs. It's got a good tire size. It has a 6-inch lift that was installed by the dealer, and that all works just fine. It has about 200,000 miles on it right now, and the engine still runs great and shows no signs of dying anytime soon. You know, Dad has taken this overlanding in the past. He took this on a trip to the Nightingale Mountains a number of years ago when we took a big group out to School Bus Canyon, and he actually did some wheeling in it. It was pretty fun. It does really well. It has an automatic locker in the rear that has been replaced, and the 4-wheel drive functions really well. So this is definitely a viable option for a camping rig, overlanding rig, whatever you want. The main issue with this, as I said, is the suspension. Now, as you're driving around town, suspension has a lot to do with comfort, yes, but it's got even more to do with safety and control. So those tires need to stay on the ground in order for you to be able to turn, for you to be able to stop. So the suspension controls how those tires respond to bumps in the road, and a lot of times, if you have a bad set of shocks, like this one has, those tires will come up off the ground and you'll compromise your braking and your steering. There's a couple of examples that I want to take you and show you now in the truck. We're going to hit a big rut, a big gap between 2 bits of pavement in a parking lot nearby. We're gonna take it on the freeway, and the exit where we get off for our house, there's a section of pavement that's up high and then it drops down. And so as you come into that at freeway speeds, it bounces you up and then it bounces you down. And you can definitely feel control compromised when you hit that in this vehicle. At the end of that exit, the exit whips around like that. There's a gap in the road down there and you hit it at a turn. So if the vehicle comes up off the ground, when you hit that, then you're gonna start sliding sideways, and that's an even bigger control issue. There's another example at the Maverick station where all of the ports where they fill the underground tanks are raised up. We can hit those at a bump and we can see how the occupants get slashed back and forth as you go over those bumps. Now our friends at Shock Surplus have offered us a new set of shocks for this, and we're gonna go pick those out on their website, get them delivered, and then we're going to install them on this and see how that goes. And then we're going to do all of this tests again to see how it improves after we've done that.
Ordering new shocks for a truck like this is pretty simple. We'll go to shocksurplus.com and enter in the year, 2001, the make, Chevrolet, model. This is a half-ton or 1500, and drive type. This is a four-wheel drive. And then we'll hit search. Right away, you're here at the top, you'll see some good options. I'd recommend selecting the option to show full sets here. Then you can just get all four at once. They'll match and you'll get a better price ordering them all together. The next thing you'll notice is some of the options have this length options call out. If your truck has a lift kit installed like ours, you'll want to choose one of those because you'll need the longer shocks. If you have a stock height truck and you just want to use it for dump runs and hauling wood from Home Depot, I just get these Bilstein 4600 shocks. They won't break the bank and they'll be solid and long lasting. Dad still likes to take his truck off-road sometimes, so I really like these Bilstein B8 5100 shocks. They're affordable, high quality, long lasting, and perform really well on bumpy dirt roads. Some more premium shocks will be these Fox 2.0 Performance Series shocks. These will give you a really good ride on and off-road. Or these Rancho RS 9000 XLs that are adjustable and would be good if you're carrying different kinds of loads around for longer drives. I'm just going to go with these Bilstein 5100s. I'll make sure they have the front and rear lift set to 4 to 6 inches because Dad's truck has the drop bracket lift.
So this is what ships from Shock Surplus. All 4 shocks fit in one box. They're all about the same size. And these are the Bilstein 5100s, which ironically is what's already on this, at least in the front. Well, when we get up the backs off, we'll try to dig and see what's on the back. They don't look the same, at least from the outside. So in these boxes is the shockses. So the rears come fully assembled with this strap to keep them compressed. The boot is already on. They're ready to go. They both have eyes on both ends with bushings already installed. The fronts also have the bushing installed, and at this end there's a little yoke, and at this end it's just a pin top, and the hardware and the bushings are right here. You also get Bilstein stickers. So we're going to go through and put these on. Things should be much better.
With the front end raised, go ahead and remove the wheel and tire. You could probably do this with the tire on, but this will make things a lot easier. Next, put a wrench on the top nut. This is easier if you have a ratcheting box end wrench. You may find that the nut turns and never gets loose. This is because you're turning the whole shock shaft. Grab a 5mm hex wrench and fit it in the pin top to hold the shaft while you turn the nut. With some effort, the nut will come off. For the bottom yoke, put a wrench on one side and turn the other side. I use an impact for this, but any wrench will do. Then you can compress the shock and remove it. Assemble the rubber bushing onto the pin top and slide it into the hole. You'll have to compress the shock a bit to get the bolt through. Then tighten it all down. Slip the top bushing on and then the top washer and nut. You'll have to use the 5mm hex wrench again to get the nut tight. given that these shocks are just going in the trash, I used vice grips to hold the shaft while I removed the other top nut. The rears are pretty simple, if a tad more awkward to reach. Just hold the nut with a box end wrench and then spin them off with an impact. These took a bit of encouragement to get out of the brackets. To install the new ones, just squeeze them up into the top mount, insert the bolt, and tighten them down. I decided a ratchet was easier than the impact in this case. Cut the retention strap off the shock, and then tap it into the mount. The bolt may also take a little bit of effort to get through. Then tighten it all up. Depending on the truck you have or can find locally for sale, you might have helper springs of some kind. Dad had installed these Hellwig helper springs to hold up his four-wheel camper. They work well for that, but make the truck ride like absolute garbage when unloaded, or with normal loads, so I'm going to remove them. Start by removing the jam nuts, then the main nuts from the U-bolts. These may be hard because they're old and rusted and because the U-bolt is so long. But with a little fiddling, you'll get it. I may remove the relief springs eventually, but with the U-bolts off, they're completely deactivated, so I left it at that. Lastly, apply your Bilstein sticker so everyone knows how cool you are. So, the footage of the shocks in action isn't really all that helpful. You can't really see anything in the GoPro shots from under the truck, so I'm not even going to show them to you. And even the dirt road shots are hard to tell any significant difference. It's pretty disappointing. The shot of the truck on the freeway we can't really replicate because they fixed the bump. The one that I was really hoping to prove the point, though the big crack in the parking lot, is still sort of hard to tell. If you look at the footage here, the tires rebound off the ground still in both tests. I can tell you that from the driver's seat, the new shocks really do help both comfort and control. It's just hard to show.
At the end of the day, this is just a 24-year-old truck with nothing in the bed right now. So if you're looking for clips of dudes driving 60 miles an hour over the whoops or catching air at moon rocks, I suggest you follow Hairy Situations. To be clear, the ride and handling of this vehicle has improved quite a lot with the new shocks, both on and off the road. And I'm really happy that Dad has a truck that's a lot more comfortable and safer to drive for him and the rest of the family. I'm just disappointed that I wasn't able to find a way to show that really effectively on the video. Thanks to Shock Surplus for making this video possible and for being such a cool company. If you're interested in shocks or other suspension products, check them out online at shocksurplus.com, and they also do service at their Southern California location. If you have any questions or comments about shocks, or if I said anything that you disagree with, hit the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Happy trails. Bye-bye.